Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest Anfield Index Under Pressure podcast. My name's Dan Kennett, and with me to go through a loss and a win, but in the right way, I've got the sports science duo. No Rhodesy again this week. He's poorly. I'm afraid. Get well soon, Rhodesy. You're poorly far too often these days. You're a big miss whenever you're not on. But I do have that dynamic duo. And fresh from his first year postgraduate, you've been an incredibly busy man, Mr. Dr. Phil Barter, Professor of Data Science at Middlesex University. You've been an incredibly busy man, Phil.
Yeah, everyone's busy, isn't it? But I think it's just...
I think you're busier than most, mate. I think you've got a particularly difficult intake at the moment, maybe. Challenging intake.
Challenging is a word. I think... maybe I wish I was more on the shop floor than less in the management ivory tower, as you would say it. But hey, say to me, you've got to do what your job says. And
you want to get in a position where you can just churn out those papers with no consequence. Yeah.
That'd be nice, but unfortunately not to be at the moment. But hey, say to me. But
your most important thing, you have done your full match stats pack, match stats packs, and published them on UP Discord already.
I've already done that, yeah.
That's the most important thing. Brilliant.
Of course, always the important thing,
Yes, and here is the man. The reason why you all listen to the show, he's had more clubs than Tiger Woods. It's Mr. Simon Brundish.
Evening, boys. Nice to be back on after a win.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
Last week was a bit boring, eh?
Well, yeah, we still managed to talk far too long about those two games, considering it was, yeah. But yeah, same as just the three of us again.
There's a song.
I like talking to you too. I can't.
Yeah, it's always good.
You got a message for Rhodesy?
Get well soon, buddy. Get well soon.
Si's got a...
Eat your greens.
Right, let's crack on with Toulouse 3, Liverpool 2. A real curate's egg of a match, this one. But most important...
Curate's egg. I love that.
That is a great phrase. That's a great phrase.
Yeah. The most important thing for this show is the rotation and the starting lineup site, and there was quite a bit.
8 changes from the previous weekend. We're kind of getting a B team together, sort of. I kind of loosely see if we take out the bloody Mickey Mouse Cup, I can see where the rotation is going, but it's given us, there are consequences to our lads playing in the Mickey Mouse Cup, sadly, and some certain lads end up playing more minutes than they should in certain games when it's designed for them to have a little bit of a break, but they end up coming on as emergencies or staying on because other players have to come off because they're shit. Consequences, but this game we at least get McAllister because of his suspension, and the front three with Ben Doak coming back in, kind of loosely you've got attacking stuff. So theoretically, on paper, you've got a cruncher, a buzzer, and a spreader in midfield, and you've got 3 dribblers up front.
Yeah. But
what else do you need? So, and you've got a connector coming from the back, somebody that helps through the build phase. It's on the left rather than the right for us this time. Like, on paper, it should work.
Yeah. Yes, but as we know, games aren't played on paper, and it didn't really work. I'm afraid, did it? But Barts?
No, I thought I think Si's right. We are starting to get a B side, but it's a bit like I don't think McAllister actually helped coming in here because they'd kind of got used to playing another way. But it wasn't it Gomez's fourth start in a row as well, which is probably not wise considering his injury record. So I just thought it was a bit. I thought it was a bit disjointed. We don't normally play with three dribblers up front, which probably means when you try and play the way we normally play with not quite having the same components, third game in a row. I just thought it smacked of a side that hadn't played together. It hasn't played together, and I didn't think the units were as together as we had started to see. Like normally, you'd seen Grav, Elliot, Endo play as a unit, and you could start to see some of that come together. Whereas now you've gone in there, you've got Elliot and Endo, but you've got Mac in there. Mac's not really played that left eight as much as he has the six all season. So, but I still go back to the fact that Toulouse are not in a very good form coming into this game. We're not in a good
position. They're only just above the relegation zone in League One.
Without sounding, this is going to sound incredibly arrogant, but that side on paper, it still should have been good enough to get a result, I would have thought, over in France. But as it happened, it didn't turn out. It didn't turn out. We did have two early chances, though, before they scored, which we often talk about how that changes, and we'll come on to a bit more in the Brentford game as well. If you don't take those early chances, then things can start going against you.
Yeah. So let's quickly look at that match summary. You have to make do with my far more rudimentary match summary than Rhodesy's normal monologue. But yeah, it was a reasonably close-ish game. It looked like some of the stats look particularly dominant. 71% possession is pretty much what it's been since the international break. Every game has been high 60s into the 70s. I think the highest we got was 70. We reached 76% in one match. But 19 shots on target for us, only 4 on target, 11 for them with 5 on target. The XG was a little bit too close to comfort. It was 1.0 to Toulouse and 1.1 to us, but that barely tells the story. With I think 3 disallowed goals in the match in total.
I think so. Yeah, 2 from them definitely, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then 1 from us in the last kick of the match.
Yeah.
So a bit of a crazy one where maybe the headline stats don't tell the full story, but we'll try and go through some of the major moments in the match and the major the things which really affected the course of the game. So, Si, those early chances from us.
The first one was a Gomez back flick header from a deep wide free kick, wasn't it? I thought that was probably our best chance early on for the first half.
But Doak had one cleared off the line, didn't he?
He had one that blasted straight at the goalie amongst 4 other players. So that would have been, it would have been either genius or kind of lucky to sneak through. But they can do, because you can get a little deflection that goes past here and there.
Yeah.
And that's probably about as close as Doak's ever looked like scoring for us, isn't it?
Carabao Cup, he had a similar, didn't he? Put it wide or over the bar from. But I know what you mean. It's the same situation, isn't it? He's got to hit target. He's hit target, but keeps open. So, yeah,
straight at the goalie.
Yeah.
We didn't look like we were threatening them. They looked like they were threatening us repeatedly.
Yeah, on the counter, wasn't
it? Yeah. And then the big mistake for their first goal, for the opening goal, that's not great.
Was it Costas we're talking about?
Yeah, there was some sequences before that. I think it was from Kelleher and then the Kwanzaa as well in the build-up, and then Costas just gets really badly caught out, doesn't he?
Yeah, I wrote down catalogue of errors.
I think that's pretty fair.
And then it's a deflection, isn't it, which finally goes in.
Was it going wide?
I think it was going in the other corner, if I'm being honest. I'd have to I've watched it twice, but I'll have to re-look at that. I'm not sure the angle you get great to do it. So I've probably got it on the run.
So what do you think? Was it going in without the deflection?
No, it was going wide.
Is it all right? Okay.
Yeah. When he looks out, he looks out.
He likes that. But ultimately, as you said, though, we had multiple opportunities to deal with that earlier on, but we didn't. And it eventually got to a situation where they could score, and they got lucky with the deflection.
Yeah, that didn't. What is he called? It makes me laugh every time I hear it. Oh yeah, Swazo.
Swazo, yeah.
A bit of Swazo. Put a bit of Swazo on that ball, and he definitely put a bit of Swazo on a finish early on from a cross down the right hand side that he slid wide, didn't he? That was their best chance.
Yeah,
until they scored.
And I guess the main talking point of the whole match, really, for us, for Liverpool's perspective, is, we know the incentive of winning the group is you play 2 less games in February. You go straight into the round of 16. Yeah.
Yeah.
We go in. We're top of the group already. Before kickoff, a draw is probably good enough to get us top spot, right?
Yeah.
And we're 1-0 down, having not played very well. And Endo should probably have been sent off in the first half. He was in fact, say he was extremely lucky to stay on.
That's probably a fair assessment. Yeah, I would say that's.
I don't know. I think it's contentious one way or the other. But yeah, probably.
I don't think we'd have been arguing if he got sent off.
Yeah.
If he'd been given, we'd have gone, I can see why he's been given.
So we're 1-0 down, and then we're trying to do rotation, and we hadn't played a very good game against Luton. And then obviously the big players had played before that against Bournemouth. And then we make a triple sub at half-time site, and on come Mo Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Dominic Szoboszlai. And Endo and Costas go off. It's how do you assess that triple sub in the context of the match, the group, the season?
Well, lots of things immediately in the match. The fans get uplifted because we're bringing the big boys on. A lot of the players go, they think we can't do it.
Yeah.
Because we need the big boys on. And the big boys, some of them will go, yeah, great, I'm going to go and cruise this, or how easy is this? Or it can have a multitude of impacts to the psychology of the lads. Are we going on to win this easy? Or we can go, we've got these big lads coming on, let's rely on these. But an instant consequence is that Simi comes off. That means Joe Gomez has to play the whole game, and he goes to left back. Yeah. And they score pretty much immediately. That's a big deal. And long-term consequences, we played Zobbo and Mo last week. And it's the third time we've had to break glass in case of emergency because it wasn't going as well as we'd hoped after rotating. So we bring our big boys on with a higher stress situation. It's theoretically if we'd have lost last week, and we'd have traded last week's game against the Mickey Mouse game against Toulouse game, and we'd have fresher lads, and you'd have played the strongest team. That means you have ostensibly 3 fewer games in December because you can just use the last 2 Europa games for mitigating fatigue and for priming reserve players, whatever players coming back from injury, players you need. But now we need to actively win those games, at least one of them. So that puts an added stress on, and we've got the Mickey Mouse game in between Arsenal and Man United as well.
West Ham.
So there are significant consequences to not winning this game and to our strategy, which on the face of it has caused us difficulties in our primary target for the season.
Yeah, and it's fair to say that I think you look at the first 20 minutes of the second half, is that those three senior players on didn't make an iota of difference. It was a pretty catastrophic 20 minutes. I mean, so just come through the key events. 48 minutes, they have a big chance. Swazo, your mate, just basically really drags a really big chance wide. I think he was closer to hitting the corner flag, wasn't he, than the far corner.
In the end, yeah.
But we can't get individual XG values on Europa League matches, can we? For anywhere.
Is it not on? It's on FootMob.
Oh, is it?
Don't have to be ref as well.
Yeah.
No, we can't get the individual shot by shots on the XG value on FP Ref, can we?
Yep.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Bottom of the screen.
All right. Okay.
They only give it as a 0.1.
Okay. Is that a new addition? I'm sure they always used to list them, but I never used to thought they put the XG values on them.
They have updated the app. It's shot by shot now. So where are we looking?
Oh, yes.
46
yeah.
is. You talking about the one straight after half time? That's 0.05.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
47 is a 0.1.
That seems mad.
0.1. Yeah.
He was 1-on-1, and he wasn't that far out.
No, I thought the same as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Then ran Trent and he took it with the wrong foot. It was an easy finish with his right foot, and he tried to with his left foot. And he tried to take it with his right.
Yeah,
all the other way around.
And then there's a goal disallowed on 50 minutes. I don't know how Matip gets this decision, Si, because this would have been a catastrophic goal to concede, I think, and it should have been. And it was Delinga who got it, and but yeah, then the referee I thought was very lenient, really, for us there, on giving that as a foul on Joel. Yeah,
it was. There's nothing else to add. I just think he got off really, really fortunately there. In the context of the last couple of weeks, I actually think he's played really well.
Yeah, same here.
And this was one aberration where it was, let's say, soft.
Yeah.
In our favour, for sure. But then he got screwed in the next match.
But this was like the VVD thing, so isn't it? VVD has this habit of standing up going, can't possibly be that right. It's that attitude, isn't it? I think Matip has learned a bit of that, although I completely agree.
There is going to be a hierarchy of arrogance in this game. Yeah. There's going to be a feeling of we're better than this. I'm better than you. I should be getting these decisions. Do you know who I am? I've won all of this stuff.
There's no way this guy beat me.
Because it was a shitty ref, to be fair.
He was. But he got away with it because I'd already written down 2-0. And then it disallowed.
And then there was 57 minutes. It is 2-0. Delinga this time does, and it absolutely rifles a finish in this one. A really good finish. But yeah, it was not a nice goal. Again, we were just far too easy to play.
Well, this comes about by stupid decisions that we make. It's the street baller trying to beat 3 players by the touchline. It was madness, and he just tried to turn 2 players and ran straight into another one.
Yeah,
and one pass straight into the box, finish, bottom corner, left Kev. Like totally helpless, or
it was a good finish, to be fair, but it was sloppy from Diaz. Yeah,
we should have been tighter on him as well in the box. It's like
I don't know, it's so quick. Like they weren't expecting a turnover from that point. I don't know.
I'm just saying the defending
at that level.
I just think the players should have been a little bit tighter, not allowed him to turn. They're not Premier League players, are they? It's like the speed of thought isn't as quick as a Premier League. But yeah, it is a good finish. I'm not going to lad. I just think that they should have been tighter.
Yeah. And then 66 minutes, there's another goal disallowed for a marginal offside, and Donham, I think he plays a 1-2 when he's just on the offside, isn't he, on the return on the offside. No goal. So, and we don't really get our act together going forward in the match until Nunes comes on.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Are you that person who has everything? The coolest merch and those must-have fan threads? Well, over at our Anfield Index shop, we've gone that extra mile when it comes to pimping up your Liverpool collection. From our popular range of bespoke design t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies and hats, to our signature edition mugs, prints and coasters, all provided with fast worldwide shipping. We have something for every red. We also stock official LFC merchandise and are licensed with the Premier League and UEFA to sell official iron-on shirt badges and sleeve patches. As a listener to this podcast, you can get 10% off everything with coupon code AI Pro 10. Just head over to AnfieldIndex.shop or find us on Etsy by searching for Anfield Index.
Well, I think until they give us a goal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Darwin was particularly.
Well, I guess it was just coincidentally that that we started getting. Yeah, well, they did give it. Yeah, that's all I meant. Sorry, that they. Yeah.
Yes, there might have been a timing element rather than a tactical element.
Yeah,
they literally gave us a goal, and then they went straight up the other end from the kickoff and scored a really simple goal because. I don't know. Is there data? Can we talk about the data of it's hard to quantify something that didn't happen. And I really feel like having spent 3 years defending Trent from Gary Neville and his masses, I don't think Trent tries very hard sometimes defensively.
Mm. Yeah. There's a lot of people supporting your comments on Trent on last week's show on the EP Discord group, per se. They're really happy that you would actually called him out on his defensive work rate and his tracking, particularly.
Yeah, just put an effort in, dude.
Yeah, I mean this is classic fullback stop the cross, isn't it? And he basically makes no attempt to really stop the cross. It's just the guy puts a ball. Any fullback at any level, first of all, stop the cross. It's not. He actually turns his body to make himself smaller, so it's not a block. I thought it was poor. I thought for the vice captain, actually captain when he comes on, I think that was poor.
If you add the context of the cross comes right across the box, right, and Trent is watching the whole line.
Yeah.
Okay, so forget for a moment that he dropped deeper than the other lads playing him on. But what he can do is see the unmarked centre forward. So he knows the unmarked centre forward is in the box when he chooses to not bother blocking the cross to the unmarked centre forward.
Yeah.
Like he should have been throwing his body to block the cross. And he vaguely wafts a leg 3 meters away. That's just effort.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the far post and the guy finishes it nicely. You can't argue with that finish.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, I think, between... I know you called him out quite rightly last week, but I think there's a big difference generally in our intensity midweek versus the weekend.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Look at Matic's
I think there's a difference in big game and lesser game intensity, and I think you find it away from home as well.
Yeah, but I look at Brentford. It's not like a massive game, but all defenders were throwing themselves in front of blocks at the end there in the last 20, 30 minutes. That's exactly
the game was
situation.
on the line then. Earlier in the game, I don't think we were particularly. It didn't feel that intense from a focus perspective. We weren't. I don't think we were in a heightened state of arousal early in the game. Yeah. I thought we kind of, once the second game we'll get to, once we scored, it changed stuff.
For sure.
But before that, I think there was still a level of apathy. Or maybe we were just not quite as focused, but it wasn't the same as this one.
No, this is completely unfocused.
We weren't connected, and I don't know. We talked about the distances covered last week, but the midweek games, we're about 8 to 10K down on weekend games in total distance and about between 25 and 30% lower on sprints. Yeah. So maybe they can talk about it's Europa games. Maybe there is some kind of game state involved in that. But looking at that, there isn't. Looking at the game we just watched, there isn't.
There's also isn't an argument side as well. But they actually put a bit of Premier League effort in for a larger part of the game. They get the game won early doors.
We are much better in the second half. So I don't know.
But but that's just us raising a level, isn't it? I'm just saying if we're going out being apathetic, whereas actually if we went out with right attitude, say right, let's get this game won by half time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? To put the effort in like you would do a Premier League game, you might then be able to rest more and rotate more for second half rather than having to play the whole 90 minutes because you've not actually got the game won.
Yeah, I see. I don't know what you guys would think, but I'm not convinced it's a conscious choice So I don't think they go out going, oh, this is going to be easy. I think it's a consequence of situation and how people speak over the course of the week. I see it in changing rooms where players are expecting it to be fairly, the challenge to be innocuous. So it just sets a standard, and it's harder to get that real heightened level of focus. I don't think it's a conscious, oh, this is going to be easy, I'm going to try less hard. I don't think it's about trying. I just think it's about intensity. It's that if you're in a battle on a pitch and somebody kicks you, most players, most top level sports people, they find something within themselves to go and win that next battle, because they feel real innate a level of fight that they want to beat that guy, girl, whoever just kicked them. It creates a level of arousal they didn't have before, and a level of intensity. And I don't think we start games with that. All games. I think we start big games with it.
Yeah.
Other fans might say complacency, Si, rather than your very nice sports science spin on it.
Yeah, maybe it's complacency.
Yeah.
I don't think we're good enough to be complacent yet.
But when you're not good, and then you also the people say, like, it's more the more. I think it's a really good explanation, but a lot of fans will simply say they're not pouring it in, they're not trying, they're not committed. It's only to lose. In air quotes, it's only to lose. So, but I think
but just as a rebuttal to that, which fan didn't think we were going to win this easily?
100%.
Yeah.
And
I think
that is the exact same thing. If you think you should win it easily, it's really hard to flip something that sets the very, very best in the world apart. Being able to crush a terrible team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely fair.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Quivian Kelleher, Si?
Yeah.
So in his last 4 Liverpool starts, he's conceded 9 goals from 5 post-shot XG, that's really, really bad. And that's against Southampton, Lask and Toulouse twice. His career Liverpool save percentage is now 68%.
I've got him at 66, but yeah, it's not great. And I think he had one season I think the season they ended up in penalty. There was a couple of penalty save. There were a couple of penalty shootouts we got into, weren't there, in cups?
Yeah.
And that's where he got his reputation. That's where he got a little bit of confidence, maybe. But around that season, either side of that season, I don't think he's been very good. I think he's been a reserve level goalkeeper.
Yeah. Well, the rumours were when Brighton were in for him at the start of the summer, but those rumours were actually before the Southampton game. So maybe that was the point we should have sold him before the Southampton game, or done the deal.
I, in fairness, don't know who comes to Liverpool to be Ali's reserve goalie. I think it's just one of the things you have to put up with.
And just to be, because I will be accused of hypocrisy otherwise here, because myself and especially me and Rhodesy were very, very positive about Kelleher's whole game in terms of being the right understudy for Ali, because we all thought, okay, he's got the sweeping. He comes
stylistically, he fits, doesn't he?
He's got the distribution. He's got some of the shot stopping. He's even got some of the command of his 6-yard box. But all that seems to have evaporated.
He's not played enough. He ain't played enough football.
Yeah,
as much as
I think with a goalkeeper, I think you practice every single day, like with the team.
It still matters in a game, though, isn't it? It's still a different thing when stuff's on the line. You talk about that quite a lot, Si, about how you can look amazing in training. I don't know goalkeepers practice all the time, but it's still. I think Dave was saying on one of the pods about the comparison between the Brentford keeper and Kev is something like 100 games difference, and they're not that dissimilar in age. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what Dave was saying. I can't remember the exact thing, but Kev just hasn't played enough football for someone his age. I don't think.
If Dave's talking about it, you have to preface this with he's talking about an Irish lad.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, I think experience matters a lot. I think experience of consequences matters a lot. I think what you're saying counts, but way more for an outfield player than for a goalkeeper.
But I think also Kev hasn't, until this season maybe, he's been playing in a side that's been exceptional, right? So if a goal's scored, the team generally goes, you know what, fine, we're going back and we're going to score 2-3. That's not the same side he's playing in now. Like, there seems to be a lot of catastrophe. Like he's conceded 1, he's conceded 2, he's conceded 2. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of very quick fire. This game is a quite example. There was 3 or 4 chances in a row. Hey, I know some of them were ours, but it's not the same dynamic or system, if you like, as he was coming into. It was a set kind of way of playing.
I think it's way harder for a goalkeeper. What we need generally to replace Ali is a keeper who can concentrate and make 2 saves a game.
Yeah.
And he's not even having that. He's having 10 saves a game, and he's not making
more. No.
So it's actually easier as a goalkeeper to do the thing because it's much closer to training.
Yeah.
It's much closer to being a mid-table team or a lower table team in the games he's playing than what Ali has to go through mostly. I think it's harder to retain confidence. He should be able to make this. We're just making excuses for the saves.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think
we're making excuses for the saves. Not making. He's an average Premier League goalkeeper at best, which is way better than us. There is real value in it. There's just a massive difference between a good goalkeeper and an average goalkeeper that is primed theoretically to be an elite ball playing goalkeeper for a ball playing side. So maybe he could go and be decent for, I don't know, Brentford kind of surprised me with how ball playing they were. But
yeah, I know you mean mid-table keeper.
A mid-table progressive Brighton would be a decent side for him.
We've probably missed our window to get maximum price on him though, which is again another one of our habits we shouldn't have dropped into. You know, there would have been a peak to send him at. I'm not sure we're getting a peak price. But yeah, I agree. I think he's a mid-table Premier League keeper.
Maybe, but again, I don't know what better keeper you're getting in to come and be Ali's reserve. You've just got to
true. You got
not having a good goalkeeper when Ali's not playing.
Yeah. So just as a summary, he's made 26 starts for Liverpool. He's conceded 34 goals and he's facing 3.8 shots on target per match and saving 70% of the 68% only. So not great in terms of the shot stopping. It's a shame to me. It does look like a regression from where he was a couple of years ago. But yeah, 26 starts and he's age 24. Yeah, that's not enough.
He's minus 2.1 post shot.
Yeah, and he said he's 4 goals under post shot in his last 4 starts, which is bad.
Yeah, I suppose so. That takes him down from 1.1 above, 2.1 above to 2.1 below.
Yeah. In just in his last 4 starts for us.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, he hasn't looked very good recently.
Anyway, more positive subject. Diogo Jota. We praised Jota against Toulouse in the reverse fixture for a fantastic solo goal that we didn't see coming. And then he goes and does it again a week later or 2 weeks later. I mean, who saw this? Is this enough? Is him doing it twice against Toulouse enough evidence to say maybe he's evolving? Maybe he's adding more strings to his bow.
What do you mean by evolving? Like, because he's scoring a more spectacular goal
or more individual goal? Rather than just tap-ins like Gary Lineker style, because Gary Lineker,
but they're much closer to the kind of goal he was getting at Wolves.
Yeah, Gary Lineker couldn't have scored that goal against.
Gary Lineker scored one of those. I remember it well. But that's not the kind of goal he was getting. But he's playing in the 6-yard box for Liverpool.
Yeah,
like he's usually on the end. He's not getting passed to on the against
because of his build-up was always his weakest part of his game.
Yeah. And against, but he plays a winger, so it must have been creative at some point.
Yeah.
Against, who did we play? Brentford. He played a really nice part in the second goal. So, he is involved in the good bits, but he's been a game breaker for us. A goal or just every 100 minutes this season is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Barts? Have you been surprised by Diogo's goals?
That type of goal, or just
Well, that type of goal,
No,
and then another one in the Brentford game.
The Brentford one doesn't actually surprise me because he kind of tries that. He does try that kind of thing quite a lot. But the solo ones he's done, that surprises me. I generally didn't see him in it, but I'd like to see him do it, having a go at Toulouse, but against a higher quality opposition. But no, I mean he has been a winger though, so he must have had some traits to dribble with the ball, to carry the ball. He must have that.
His dribbling numbers have always been good in that respect. So
yeah, to be honest, just happy. It looks to be. Form is a funny word, isn't it? But he seems to be having gone a long run without scoring, and now seems to be involved in the right areas for us and having an impact. And that's a good thing to have, because I do think Jota offers us something different. As Si said, his minutes and assists this season are pretty phenomenal, and given us that option in the left hand side, which we've needed. To be frank, we have sat here saying, other options we've had playing there just haven't given us the output, and Jota's doing that.
8 goals from 4.4 expected in all comps this season. That's hot. So, and the key is, we've always said on this pod, is that, especially during the COVID season and other points, that the key to Liverpool, one of the keys to Liverpool having a good season, is that you need 2 members of the front 3 outperforming their expected goals. You can't be, as a team, if 2 of the 3 are cold or underperforming, then we're going to struggle as a team. But we've got Jota is hot and Mo is hot.
Darwin is hot.
Darwin's hot.
Except in goal scoring so far. It's not coming through with the numbers, is it, yet? That's what I mean.
His conversion
his
conversion. Low, but his shot volume is so high that his per 90 rate is still phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. But point is, in terms of what we've always talked about, in terms of outperforming your expected.
Yeah.
And in that respect, Jota and Mo are both hot this season.
But they're also, I think the thing with Jota is you'll see coming on to the next game, the 3 of them are starting to link really well together. And that's another, I think, symbolism of a great Liverpool team, is the front 3 working as a unit. And I think you're starting to see that front 3 really working as a unit.
Yeah. And Jota is currently outperforming his XG with post shot by 1.09, and Darwin is 0.77 below.
Yeah.
So his shot quality is higher currently. I think he's probably going for a little bit of a hot patch.
Yeah. Yeah. And the key is always, right, we know that Jota won't be able to sustain this kind of form over a whole season. He's never done it before. He's always been pretty much average to XG, virtually average to his XG for his career. So he won't sustain this form. But for Liverpool as a team, the key is when we ride that wave with Jota while he's hot, and then hopefully somebody else, Diaz, Darwin, will be picking up the slack when Jota cools off. And then that way the team stay overall. Continue to put. I think that's the trick, isn't it? That's what we've got to hope for.
Trick is to try to get Diaz into some kind of form, because he doesn't compare to the other 3. Like Gakpo sneakily does. But Diaz's numbers, they're just not great. One thing that Jota also does that we've not really given him credit for before is that he is our second most voluminous player of getting us into the box. So through a carry, through a pass into the box, getting us possession inside the opposition's box, he's the second best in the team per 90.
Yeah. So terrible in the middle third, pretty damn dangerous in the final third.
Not a bad trait to have, though, is it?
Just efficient,
Yeah. But you always say one thing you like about him, Si, is every decision he makes is team first.
Yeah. He's also giving the ball away less this season as well.
Yeah.
So his ball, he was losing the ball with
not in the first few games of the season. He wasn't
last season, and now it's down to 29.
Yeah, he was a pinball machine, wasn't he? But yeah. You always say he's a team first player in his decision.
Yeah. He's the opposite of a street baller, I think.
Yeah. Okay, as a positive. And then, so that was Jota making it 3-2. And then at the end of the game, maybe a blessing in disguise that, we didn't, it was a pretty bad VAR call. How many phases of play did they go back? I'm not quite sure. And was it even handball, Si, against Alexis?
By the letter of the law, if it hits the
silhouette,
the sleeve. No, if it hits your sleeve, it's not. The sleeve is the thing that discerns whether it's handball or not.
Right.
Which is the most ridiculous, it's a ridiculous rule. But if that's the rule, that's the rule, and it hit a sleeve.
Yeah.
I can understand why I would want that to be called handball. I looked because I didn't see it live. I saw the outrage. I've seen it since. There were 7 touches between the handball and the finish, and I thought, having seen that was too many, and then that should be a different phase. But the ball actually never let that. Like I'd heard arguments that Toulouse gained possession and then lost possession, so that changes phase. But the ball didn't come out of the area, so it actually didn't change phase. It's the same phase until the ball leaves the box. So it's still the attacking phase. So by the letter of the law, it actually is the right spot to go back to have a look at how you created that attacking phase, because it's all part of the same phase. So it's kind of disgusting. It feels a bit off that it should go back that far, but I think the rules say it should.
Okay. So to sum up Europa League, we've got a home game now against Lask after the Man City game to qualify with a game to spare, basically.
Yeah, we just need a draw, wouldn't we? Draw?
Win and we're in.
Win, we're in. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right, on to Brentford and Brentford's giant team. And one of the things that we discussed last week, Si, you mentioned, was that Tsimikas definitely won't be playing against Brentford. And it would be but the other thing what I wanted to say was, against this last year, we played an entire team, I think, we had 10 players in the team who were over 6 foot in a very, very dull game. Liverpool won, Brentford 0 last season, but a very dominant scoreline and we pretty much restricted Brentford to not very much last season and largely nullified their exceptional set-piece threat, which has absolutely battered us twice at their place. And it's fair to say, Barts and Si, we went with the biggest team possible again. I know we were restricted by injuries, but I put it to you that we probably picked this team anyway.
Yeah, I think it's a really good chance that we go with this team. I think in a one-off game, he's probably picking Konate. But over the course of a season, how often has he picked Matip in a game with big, tall lads?
Loads.
Especially with aerial duels being
Matip's great in the air.
Great.
Endo seems to be good in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks like our best aerial team if you theoretically start Gomez at left back, which was the plan until he was injured.
Yeah. And
do you see how big their right back is?
I know, he's fucking massive. Yeah. AJ, the Norwegian
198.
Dude. Yeah, no, yeah. He's taller than Dan Burn.
It's unbelievable.
When the whole team's
that's why you'd want theoretically Gomez playing left back, but he's terrible in the air anyway, so it makes no difference.
Yeah, the other thing was Cody in midfield, wasn't he? As an 8,
and this was the game he did it last season.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, Dom, Cody, and Endo as the tallest midfield 3 we could offer at this particular time.
Yeah. So I would have think Jones would have been a shoo-in if he'd have played, and maybe not, instead of Endo. But yeah, and unsurprisingly, no Harvey Elliott in the starting 11 against Brentford.
He's not started any Premier League games, so I would.
No, what I mean is, I just think we're picking the tallest. I think we're just trying to pick the best.
Yeah, we're playing a forward in midfield instead of Harvey, who's been really good in midfield.
Yeah, just because of his height, almost. Yeah. And whether Cody's actually good in the air or not is a moot point. But at the end of the day, he is 6'2".
6'3".
Yeah.
So he is tall. Whether he's so.
And he can physically compete, right? Whereas
as a utility,
as a utility. Whereas, as we saw last week, and you gave him the benefit of the doubt on the key moment against Luton, Harvey couldn't compete physically.
Mm.
So But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you called it early on. Then you said Cody would start this game.
Yeah, I just thought based on what we did last season, I think that I think based on the second, we've lost at Brentford twice, haven't we? No, we don't. One of them felt like a defeat because it was a 3-3, and then we lost the other one. Yeah,
yeah. That was at their place, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah. And I think it's good that we've learned that maybe Brentford is a unique challenge in the Premier League pretty much now, and you just have to pick the horses for courses.
Yeah, you have to win the game.
Yeah, win the game in front of you. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, the biggest team possible. Si, anything else you want to comment about that starting lineup?
It was really the only team we could pick because we've suddenly got injuries. So it's the first time we've had more than 5 injuries in a season. Yeah. In a game this season.
Bench was a little bit limited, wasn't it?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Diaz, Elliott, and Kwanzaa. I know Diaz,
McAllister's suspended, so we've got 7 injuries plus Mac out, and so on the bench you've got the kid Nioni making his debut in the squad at 16. He's just signed his contract. Scanlon and Chambers on the bench with McConnell and Kwanzaa and Harvey, and Doak. It might be the youngest squad. It might be the youngest bench we've ever put out. I've not seen anybody write it, but I can't fathom we've had a younger bench ever. We've got 2 17-year-olds and a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old.
In the league.
Yeah. That's like the end of Brendan. That's terrible.
Yeah. There's not much depth there for the spring if we have to go on a run in multiple competitions, is there?
7 injuries, but no.
Yeah.
You got Matt coming back. You got Matt coming back, and you got a 2-week break. I mean,
so just on the fresh injuries, Konate and Gomez say, and do we know anything about either of those 2 injuries?
Konate hamstring and hip. That's what we've got so far. They theoretically should be after the international break, but how many times do you hear they'll be back after the international break?
Yeah,
and they never are.
It's which international break?
I'm sure Konate was 2 weeks last time, and it turned out to be 6.
Yeah, he's not a quick healer, is he?
Yeah, and Joe is hip, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. More confidence in that?
Fatigue related issue for sure.
Okay.
What about CJ and Grav?
Knee and calf.
Back for City or not?
Who knows? There's no predicting either of those two because I don't know Grav at all, and there's no predicting for CJ.
Yes, CJ's key for me for that one.
Any comments on the starting lineup for Brentford, Barts?
They switched to a back 5 from the previous game. And they put their left back from the previous game into midfield, who lasted till half time and then got hauled off. And went back to the original midfielder. Don't ask me to pronounce their names. But anyway, I won't quite butcher them for you. But they went with a 5-3-2 rather than against West Ham. It was a 4-3-3. So, which might have been a response to us. But if you look at the way they played, although they did play some nice football, I agree with Si's early comments. They're still, when we come on to it, their passing chains were just predominantly below 5. So they were still very low 5, and the connections they had were between the front 2. They were just getting the front 2 into areas to then dribble and have an attack. But the big change for them was a back 5. And they put more taller lads in, basically.
Didn't they do that? Didn't they do that at Anfield last season as well?
Yes, they did. Yeah, it seems to be like we've got a go-to game plan for them. They seem to have a go-to game plan for us.
Their long ball rate at Anfield last season was 27%. It was 15 in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
15 is the lowest they've ever had against us by 5.
Now, remember last season, though, on the pod, we spent all that time talking about the ball in playtime and the number of restarts and everything like that. It wasn't quite as bad as that this time around, was it?
Hello, I'm here to annoy you. I'm here to annoy you into listening to more of me and more of others on EPL Index. we don't just have the Anfield Index stuff. We've got EPL Index as well, which covers the entirety of the Premier League. And we have 3 podcasts and a whole bunch of really good writing on EPLindex.com. The podcasts are my own Two-Footed podcast, which is every day at 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, covering the whole league. We have A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. You know Tadiwa, he does Anfield Index. He presents A Tad Predictable before every Premier League match week. And then Kevin De Vries and his crew on the EPL Roundtable, they're every week after the Premier League match week. So make sure you listen to everything we're doing on EPL Index and follow us there on Twitter at EPL Index. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Still a long game. 112 minutes.
Yeah.
102 minutes. 102 minutes.
But
So
what I mean is, it wasn't
6
quite
minutes added on each half.
in terms of the number of goal kicks and the number of throw-ins. It wasn't as egregiously bad as the last one. And then the time wasting over set throw-ins and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't as bad as last season. I don't think. I didn't think anyway. It
didn't seem that, but there was 2 massive VAR decisions to be had on there, so maybe that. But yeah.
I felt like they were setting up trying to beat us, and last season they were setting up trying not to lose.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. Well, they have just come off the three-peat of wins at Stamford Bridge, of course, so they're going to be having confidence. And I think they had 3 wins in a row, didn't they, in the league before this? So they're in good form. But yeah, the XG was close on all the models. On FB Ref, it was 1.7 for us, 1.6 for Brentford, and on Understat it was 1.6 for us and 1.5 for Brentford. So not much in that, although a lot of the Brentford XG was in what we call garbage time, when the result was already assured. In terms of the other key stats of the match, where are we looking now? It was a pretty emphatic performance, to be honest, in terms of the what really mattered. The 59% possession for us, 17 shots total to 16, but we had 10 on target. Brentford only had 3 shots on target at 16, which is pretty shocking.
We had 2.5 post shot. They had 1.
Yeah. And the big chances was 3-2, was it, in the end?
I think so, yeah. I think XT wise, they created more. No, yes, they did more. Yeah. Yeah, more XG than us, but we critically, and I know I'm boring about this, but we converted more of our XG to XG.
Great percentage.
97.2% we convert, which is low for us. We normally go over 100% of our conversion. They only managed to convert 70%. So that's, I think, your point you said earlier on there, Darth. The amount of the ratio of on target to off target is absolutely critical. We had 10 on target to their 3, but roughly the same amount of shots. I thought it was interesting. Note on this one as well, as you guys saw me getting really pissed off on a Monday morning after I'd done the viz. A lot of the XG jump numbers changed because they originally post game won the XG 1.4 to 1.5, and on Monday morning they readdressed a lot of our, and it only nudged it by 0.1 here, 0.4 there. Darwin, one of the ones, went from 0.1 to 0.2, so it all adds up. But it meant eventually we won the XG, having lost it after the game, and they lost it. Anyway,
and they've even FB Ref even changed their numbers from the ones you quoted as well, Darth.
Yeah. So there was a lot of recalculation after this. Similarly, the headers seem to be the ones that were most changed. I was so annoyed I didn't go through and note the ones that definitely changed. I was just rapidly trying to make sure the viz was right. But it was, for us to go from basically 1.4 to 1.7 after the recalculation, it is quite a large change in XG. That's a big chance. Effectively.
Yeah, and it was lots of small incremental changes, not one big change.
I think one of them was a Darwin one. Around second half, there was a chart. One of the Darwin ones definitely went up by about a point, by a whole 10%, if you like. But other than that, it was just incremental changes.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to talk about, right. So at the point we went 3-0 up and killed the game, all the stats were looking very dominant in our favour, including the XG and the XT, with a couple of exceptions which we'll come on to. But there was a lot of XG and XT for. I mean, they won. They had about 0.7 XT at 3-0 down, and I'm not particularly bothered about that kind of thing, as we said that on the Forest pod, I think it was as well. However, the ones we will talk about are at the start of the game. There was a moment, it wasn't even really converted into anything like a shot, but Ben Mee puts a ball into our box, which we don't clear, and it bounces around at least 4 times and ends up with Pinnock having a kind of a scuffed shot. And that's the kind of thing that registers a lot. Barts is a good example of something which registers a lot on XT, but doesn't have much in terms of XG.
Yeah, that's let me just get the viz up. There's one on 5 minutes and there's one on 17 minutes.
Yeah.
So the one on 5 minutes is their third highest XT peak of the game.
Yeah,
that's a huge chance for them. One thing to note for Brentford is that at every large peak of EPV XT, they got a shot away. Right. So what I'm trying to say is that whereas conversely to us, we had some large peaks of XT and XEPV, we didn't always get a shot away. So we were quite wasteful. But anyway, yeah. So on that one after 5 minutes, that's their third highest XT peak of the game.
Yeah, and it was just a nothing thing, nothing ball in.
It's just position though. It's central. It's in the box,
and it bobbles around a bit, and it's in there for a good 3 seconds, maybe, before Pinnock shoots.
Yeah,
and he sort of scuffs it, doesn't he? Really, and I think it goes wide actually.
Yeah, definitely, it just goes wide. Yeah,
but that's it's a good example for the listeners to think about the difference between expected threat and expected goals.
Yeah.
And that's a good example.
Definitely. And the Bueno, is it Bueno? Is that how you say his name? Bueno on 17, where he puts it just wide, and he saves it. Is that right? Am I thinking the right one? That's also really high XP. That's nearly.
No, you're thinking about the one which was a big chance at 0-0. Yeah. Yeah. But we'll come on to that.
You're thinking the Trent error.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, but again, big XT again, big. But you're right. That's an example. That first one in the first 5 minutes is a classic example. It's a threatening area, but they just didn't execute the finish.
Right. Si, do you want to do the Trent error? Si? You just mentioned the Trent error. Do you want to do that now?
No.
Okay. But we then have 2 disallowed goals at this, both from Darwin. And I'm particularly galled up the first one, not the overhead kick, the first one, because there's a nice build up here. Tsimikas and Jota. Jota cuts it back, and Zobbo mishits a shot. But this is precisely the type of chance that I've been wanting to see Darwin to see. Because it's the time where he's got time to think and he's got time to fuck it up. But he takes a beautiful first touch and then he puts a right foot finish in off the post, beats the keeper, and he's just basically half a boot length offside, isn't he? In the build-up. Yeah. And I was thinking that's exactly the type of goal I want him to score as a central striker.
100%. It's a good finish.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you want him to do. Ball drops to his feet, good touch, and he puts it in the back of the net.
Yeah, that's what Jota would do. That's the kind of goal that Jota would score.
Yeah, it would. Although Jota had a couple of horrendous touches in this game, but yeah, we'll come on to those. But no, yeah, you're right. I thought it was just really tight, I have to say. And I'm still not sure the protocol.
The linesman gave it in real time.
That's what I'm saying. The liner gave it in real time. I don't think you were supposed to do that, because on the Brentford one that we will talk about, the liner didn't put his flag up, but he looked offside. It looked about the same amount offside. It's just a real weird inconsistency.
I've seen it in real time happen 3 times this season, and they're always against us. They're only allowed to put it up if it's obvious. Yeah. And they're always had to be reviewed like 30 times to find out whether they're offside or not.
Yeah. I'm not... I'll say that. We've seen it happen, but if the liner doesn't put his flag up, I'm not sure what happened. It's just... It's a real...
still checks, because they check everything.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. They would have found the toenail that was offside.
Yeah. But then there was a second offside when, from a set play, VVD heads goal-bound, keeper saves, and Darwin scoops in an overhead finish on the rebound, but he was a good meter off when Van Dijk. That was more emphatic but that was more an instinctive finish, and it's a shame that one didn't go in. But yeah, that first one was when he had time to think about the ball coming to him, didn't he, and make the touch and finish.
It was the different type of finish we spoke about in the last pod, right? It wasn't the blast. It wasn't the instinct. We've seen him do instinctive volleys before, right? We've seen him do that. It was a touch and a nice finish. It was just nice to see that. I agree with you, Darth. It's just unfortunate he didn't get the reward.
Yeah. And then Si, the big moment because the two disallowed goals are the decisive moments of the match. And Mbeumo gets clean through, just like Anfield last season. And Mbeumo does get, I think it was 1-0 in that game. Then Mbeumo goes through and has a big chance and doesn't get it. But yeah, he cleaned through again, and the holy goalie.
And it's not been talked about. I think this might be one of the saves of the season.
You think it's that good, yeah?
Like the reaction, he makes himself so big, but then there's a reaction. He did one last week as well that I talked about, and there's just a small reaction that saves it with his left hand. And he's like a meter away when he actually flinches.
Wow.
It's remarkable. And he is the best in the world at it by a mile. He is the very best of Peter Schmeichel, whilst also being a great goalkeeper too.
But not in the top 10 FIFA goalkeepers in the world.
Absurd. Absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
This is a phenomenal save. This is absolutely, he's had a game against Newcastle. He kept us in it. We won the game. This is another save for me that is at game state, a close game at game state. He saves it. We go on to score. And we win the game. You can't undervalue how important he is to our progress this season.
No, and he's having, in terms of save percentage now, he is clear having his best season ever. Even so, again, he had a very good season, 2 very good seasons for Roma, where he averaged 77 and 78% of all shots saved. Now 79%. For his previous best for Liverpool was 75 in the COVID season, believe it or not. But yeah, 78% in 18-19. But yeah, 79% save percent rate. That's just unbelievable. And I think he's third in the league for post-shot XG above conceded as well.
Can I point something out here that we kind of loosely discussed about the last game? Right, it all comes about that shot, that chance occurs from a breakaway from corner. Yeah. One that Trent wasn't taking. The ball came out of the box after a header midway through the half, and Trent was there as the last man to mop it up, put it back in, do the thing Trent does, right? At that point, he is 5 meters centrally and 5 meters deeper than Mbeumo, okay? By the time the ball is played, Trent is stood at right back in his own half, and Mbeumo is at centre forward. There is nobody else within 20 meters. Who was he marking?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's my fucking mind. Yeah. I had no idea what he was doing. And Trent caused that big chance. He caused it entirely.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Okay. So before we talk about the goals and coming for us, let's now do the whole patterns of play and build-up and stuff like that, because there was a lot of things to like about us in this game. Like, Barts?
Yeah, I mean, I need looking at. I said to you guys that the pass network for me, I think up to the first subs is our best of the season in terms of spacing, in terms of front three connections, in terms of the positioning of our front three, both in the attacking third and in our own half. We're in the half spaces we want our players to be. The front three are passing to get to each other. I mean, like, they've all got a thick black line between each other. I know Endo's stats are not great, but I thought his space and his positioning, there are flashes, and maybe I was looking for it tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe Matt does the same thing. But I thought the middle three here are positioned better than I'd seen before. And also the thing to note from here, I thought Trent was mixing up, inverting, and not more in this game than he previously had done. which is also shown that his average position is not as tight in with the six. It is almost in what we would call his traditional flank, shall we say. Mo is still more wide than usual, but that seems to be a product rather than a decision this season. But no, I thought in terms of, if you look at that, in terms of what at our best and our passing networks between all of our players as a unit, we are over 3 strips of the pitch. We are 3 squares wide and 3 squares depth. So we've got good depth, good spacing. That to me looks like a functioning system. Yes, there are tweaks. We could argue, I think Mo should be slightly tucked in a bit more and Trent could be wider. But in terms of how we set up as a team, that looks visually the best we've done all season. The duels as well, as you know, I put that on, are pushed out wide. We haven't got the pressing data, but we haven't got an issue with duels centrally at the moment. They're down the flanks, which is what we want. So there's a lot to like about our structure from a path network point of view in this game. I would suggest. Second half for us is really strange. I don't really want to talk about that, but that's just a really odd thing because the structurally just disappears. But I think that's more to do with subs. And them is a very weird. I know we spoke about they had some good passing moves, but there is no real structure in their pass network. It's very dog-legged, if you like. There's sort of 3 dog legs together, and then there's a straight connection into the front 2. There's no passing between the front 2. It's just a straight hard line into them, and then go and progressive or go and do something. So,
but they were only playing that pass beyond our midfield, so they were always. 2 on 2 or 2 on 3.
2 on 3, yeah, 100%. So as I said, for us, I thought structurally, spacing wise, this is the best I've seen this season. Whether that's in no playing, I don't know.
Thoughts on our general play build up.
I like that it wasn't Trent's first response to every situation to go and stand as a 6. That there was interaction between Trent, Zobbo, and Mo and Endo, and they functioned together as a team. I liked it a lot. I wish it was something we did going forward. I'm presuming it's got to do with the attributes they see in McAllister as opposed to Endo. Maybe they think that Trent coming in midfield quicker is more protection for Mac that Endo doesn't need, and Endo can just drop between the centre backs. I'm not sure it's true. But
so we asked for more flexibility, a bit more pragmatism on the last pod. Fair to say we got it then?
Yeah, seems that way.
That's nice. It's nice that maybe it's things,
a consequence. Yeah. Maybe it's a consequence of Simi playing rather than and so that Simi can't invert.
You've also got
to be fair, we haven't even talked about inverting Gomez against Toulouse. I mean the whole cluster. To be fair, we did slot over that.
Let's slot out. But the other thing we said in last pod is round pegs and round holes, right?
Yeah.
Gakpo was going inside out, which I really liked. So when he's played as an 8 before, or when he plays as a 10, he was staying centrally all the time, and he was the one getting into the box. He did that sometimes, but most of the time he was looping around, and then Darwin was dropping, and Jota was going in behind and coming central. So you always had that central and left side of the W high and in space. Yeah. It's one of the things that we don't do very. I think it's been one of the weaknesses of the system is utilizing the space on the left hand side, and I thought we did it really well.
Yeah, just on a big one though.
I made a note of this. The general dynamic between Tsimikas and Jota, I thought was really good in this match.
Yeah, I thought we had a functioning left side.
I thought Gakpo played well.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, considering we've been very critical.
Gakpo with 47 touches in the game. I
know, that's incredible. I was going to say, that's another, because considering how uninvolved he was against Toulouse with 23, I think, that is a very, very high level of involvement for Cody Gakpo. Very high.
But I was watching closely because, again, another game I didn't watch live. So knowing the outcome and already collated the stats, the number of times he is in a good position in space to receive the ball and he doesn't get passed to staggered me. So it's actively a choice not to give him the ball. It's like you'd think if you got 19 touches in a game, it was because he wasn't getting himself free or wasn't making a good angle. But we're actively choosing to not pass to him, whether that's as a decoy for some reason, whether it's deliberately we're passing the ball beyond him, knowing that he's there to back up the counter press. I'm not sure whether it's for spacing. CJ does it for spacing sometimes. But we gave him the ball a little bit more than we had been. But even then, he probably could have had 25 more touches in fairly decent positions unmarked. That being said, I saw Simi got called out early in the at half time. He was getting a bit of a slandering. There were 3 times in the game where he gave the ball away it looked fairly egregiously that we were broken on because he gave the ball away. Mm-hmm. And each of those 3 times they weren't his fault. So one time he picked the ball up deep. He ran 30, 40 meters, but he wasn't at full speed because he was waiting. Darwin and Jota were inside of him, and he was just waiting for one of them to split to make a move because their giant defender was in between. So he was blocking the pass. So he couldn't pass to either of them. There was no, and Mbeumo was behind, blocking the outlet to Endo. There was no pass on at all. And he just kept carrying the ball, waiting for one of them to make a move. And eventually he tried a hard pass into Darwin that was picked off. And then quite a big move that they broke. It led to a cross into the box. They shot wide. And he played a really good ball 30 yards out to Gakpo. And Gakpo waited to receive it. And a lad nipped in front of Gakpo. And it was a perfectly good, accurate ball. If he'd have made one step forward, he'd have received it. And he didn't. And it looks terrible for Tsimi, and it wasn't his fault at all.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
So just context of the numbers sometimes.
Nice, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so plenty of positive stuff there, and I think it's fair to say also we need to mention Klopp calling out Núñez post-match for his work rate, in particular his closing down, and it's a real shame we haven't got the pressing stats from Rhodesy for this one, because I think they would have shown out clearly that Núñez was top presser in terms of volume, and and those are all the other things that we look for in terms of production and possession wins and things like that. It was pretty good, wasn't it? It was very reassuring to see.
StatsBomb had Zobo as top presser, and Gakpo and Jota were high. Darwin was fourth.
Oh well, okay. Thank you. So, right. So let's talk about the goals. We said that Trent was more considered about when to come in, into the sixth position. First goal, he is in a central position inside the centre circle. He plays a lovely 20-metre vertical ball into Nunes, who plays a lovely little layoff through ball into Mo. And Mo, just with that, if that's a trademark finish, if there is a trademark Mo finish, that's it, isn't it? That one?
That should be our play. So we should have a playbook designed around getting Mo into that position.
Yeah.
If you want to see what Liverpool goal looks like getting Mo into the top right-hand corner of the box. How do we do that? Let's find 50 different ways to make that occur.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's been occurring very often this season, but
no.
It was brilliant. Everyone felt like he was going to score, and it was great. Ironically, that Trent wasn't inverted. The play was just down the left-hand side, so he was actually playing right back, just in the middle of the pitch. The Matip won the ball back. They were just about to break, and he won the ball back about 50 seconds after he was ridiculously booked.
Yeah.
Also winning the ball back. Yeah. How Tierney gets to be our referee, I'll never forget.
No, I know it is a farce.
Blows my mind.
So yeah, I think there's a very good point there about, is Trent in that central position naturally, or is he there because he's inverting? Absolutely. But all I'm bothered about is the effect of him being in that central position is important, because that was a lovely ball into Nunes.
Yeah, but everybody was over, which meant Mo was in the right line for that as well.
Yeah,
so he wasn't coming from wider. Was what I meant. And Zobo was right in the middle of the pitch to get the recovered ball off Matip. Did a lovely little turn into Trent. Trent pinged a great pass. We talked about it last week. I have him as the big progressor in that goal came from Trent. Yeah, and then. I presume the highest XT moment would have been from Trent, and Darwin made a nice little pass inside to Mo. Great finish.
Well, he topped the XT for this match, didn't he? Again, Barts.
Yeah,
Trent?
I think he did. Yeah, just having a quick check now, just to double check the figures. But where has he gone? 0.56. So yeah, highest XT for the team. So for my calculations, but like we said last week, that's what Trent can do. Like, he literally created I know it was an aerial ball last time that we chatted that we missed last week, but that's what he does. It's a vertical pass into the front, lay off and score. But last time, vertical pass into the front player, touch and should have finished. So
I got the numbers we didn't have last week when we talked about through balls, Barts.
Yeah.
So most through balls in the Premier League this season. Anybody want to have a guess?
You took in teams or
individual?
Individual.
You might be surprised. He's a very good player, but you might be surprised at who it is.
Is it a top side? No,
he's a top player. He's a top player on a mid-table team.
Ooh. I mean, it could be like a Tottenham player, right? No, I'm joking.
I love the needle.
No, is it someone at Villa? Is it
Lucas
Villa?
Paquetá?
Oh, okay.
Lucas Paquetá's got 16. Egyptian King's got 11, and then Trent's got 10, despite missing 5 games in the Premier League through injury this season. So, in terms of per minute, Paquetá is every 61 minutes, through ball every 61 minutes. Trent is every 78, and Salah is every 95. And Trent is also back.
Trent missed 2 games through.
Was it 2? Was it only 2? Was it
only 2?
He's only got 770 minutes in the Premier League. Oh, he's been subbed off a lot.
Yeah, he gets subbed off all the time.
Yeah, okay, that'll be it then.
He's been subbed off 7 times.
That'll be it then. Sorry, I thought it was more games missed through injury than that. But he's also back top of the on Mark Harstad's amazing website, absolutely essential bookmark for everybody. He is back top of the non-cross expected threat with 0.23 per 90 this season, and on all XT, including crosses, he is 4th with 0.26. But yeah,
who's top of that one?
Trippier.
Oh, right.
Trippier gets more from his crossing and his free kicks than he does from his open play, from his non-cross.
He also takes all of the corners. And
I was going to say he takes everything. Yeah.
And Trent now doesn't take half the corners because Zobo takes them, right?
They mix it up, don't they? Same as the free kicks now. They mix it up between the
Trent's non-cross XT is 0.23 this season, and he's best in the league. James Maddison is second.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's some, these stats are still evolving. It's only 12 games. But just so you know, Kevin De Bruyne last season was 0.22 non-cross expected threat. So anything over 0.2 is going to be good.
Yeah, I think that's per 90, right?
Yeah. And Trent currently at, what did I say it was? 0.23.
0.23, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
so
what you want.
There's been a lot of criticism about Trent's overall numbers declining, and rightly so. But as we said, there's a trade-off. The trade-off is for more valuable types of passes from central areas, particularly through balls.
It's not to the final bit.
Yeah,
that's the difference. He's not making high value contributions to the end of a goal.
Yeah,
which is how we've traditionally counted up this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not in the hot zone anymore, is he? He's the guy who puts the ball into the zone for the chance to be curated.
Which you'd think that would be add up towards hockey's, but it doesn't.
Doesn't, no. Because it can be the third pass back, can't it? It can be the furthest. It can be quite far back in their chain.
Well, he got the hockey for the first goal. But yeah, there hasn't been that many. Did he say he's only had 2 hockeys this season?
3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Second goal. Another hockey assist, this time from Jota into Simi. And then the controversial, in quotes, the Newcastle style, was it over the line? Was it not over the line? And come to you, Si, again, because people who talk about there's no such thing as a big chance header, I give you Mo Salah.
I thought it was a great header as well.
He just guided it, steered it.
Into the exact window it could go in without the keeper doing anything about it.
Yeah, and the keeper gave up, didn't he? He saw it was on target and he gave, I'm not going to get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So did the defender, though. They all kind of went, they were all claiming for the cross bit now, weren't they?
Mm.
Perfect. He missed a big chance earlier at the end of the first half, didn't he?
Oh, he
I
did.
didn't. I've had to watch that this evening because I missed it entirely.
Wonderful ball from Trent, wasn't it? Trent lofts it to the back post. It's one of those that because Mo is very good at expecting the unexpected. And for some reason, I don't think he expected the ball to drop to him because Brentford are that tall, but it just comes over the defender's head and Mo first time puts it straight over the bar. I think that's 0.4, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right foot volley, 0.5.
Yeah.
0.5.
It was a big one. I'm not sure it was actually that big, but right foot reaching, like the context. If they use one of the more advanced data sources, I think the context of how far in front of him it was on the volley as a dropping right foot volley, I think it's a harder chance than a 0.5. I don't think 50% of people score that.
No. I have to say what I expected Mo. I would have expected Mo to score it more times than not.
Sure.
So, 12 goals, 4 assists this season now. The consistency of his output across all the matches is just phenomenal. There's no streaks, there's no stat padding, there's no bunching. It's just consistent match by match. It's an astonishing level of consistency.
He is just regularly brilliant, isn't he? I read a couple of quotes from Darwin and from Virgil, and they both called him the best player in the world this year. I think it's hard to argue with.
Yeah.
Who else is around?
Well, the only other one is Alisson, and they're not going to give it to a goalie, are they?
No.
Goalies never get him. Yeah.
200th league goal, 200th Premier League goal.
200th goal in English football.
Yeah, because he scored 2 for Chelsea. But
yeah, so he'll score his 200th league goal for Liverpool soon enough anyway, probably before the end of this season.
And he is about to crush all of the legends that have scored 200 goals per minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's above all the modern day players now, isn't he? On the list because he went above Gerrard. So, and I think next one above him on the all time list is one of the pre-war players, isn't he?
Yeah, he needs like 20 goals to get to the next one.
Yeah. There's a bit of a gap now. But yeah, just an astonishing level of consistency from Mo Salah this season. He would. Here's a question, Si. No player has ever won the Player of the Year 3 times in the Premier League era. Mo is amongst 3 players, I think, who've done it twice, or 4 players who've done it twice. If he wins it again this season, which he could well, the argument to say he's the best ever player in the Premier League.
I think he's top 3 for sure.
Henry's won it twice. Ronaldo, no.
Shearer's won it twice, I think.
Yeah. But no one's ever won it 3 times.
No.
De Bruyne's won it twice.
I would. I don't know. It's hard to go against like the utter brilliance of Thierry Henry, and Shearer was unbelievable and what he means to the Premier League. But the volume and getting to the longevity of Mo's performance, just the consistency is unbelievable. So he is. Aguero is the quiet assassin in the best Premier League players that we
didn't get enough assists.
No one ever talks about Aguero.
Didn't get enough assists compared to Henry and Salah.
But golden minutes per golden assist, he is with Thierry Henry. He's actually way better than you think.
All right, okay.
So those 3 are out on their own compared to anybody else. Then Kane is like 4th, and I think he's like 15 minutes behind them.
So is Henry still top in terms of minutes per goal involvement?
Yeah.
And how far ahead of Salah is he?
I didn't get that up, but it was not far. It's like 3 minutes.
All right, okay. So it was really quite close. Sorry.
Yeah, it's very close. Yeah, and it might actually. And I haven't looked at that this season, and Mo's gone down. So Mo might actually be below him and ahead of him now, because Mo is at 67 minutes this season.
Yeah.
I think Mo's been phenomenal. The only thing that worries for me for the awards is the timing, because isn't the voting going to be when he's in AFCON?
Probably.
They put it back.
They've moved them back.
Okay, because he's away, isn't he, for that period? And it's only a short period of time. People always think it's a long time, but that often is inhibited. But how many times has De Bruyne won it? Just out of query.
He's twice.
Twice as well.
So Salah this season is 16. He's got 16 goal involvements in 1,261 minutes all comps. That's every 79 minutes.
And he was robbed one at Tottenham. So
don't start. Right.
Anyway, I'm just saying that would have been a consecutive games, right?
Yeah. And now one other thing I wanted to mention about the second goal was there was a really interesting tweet put out by a pro refereeing account. I didn't realise there was such a thing on Twitter. Anyway, it's something, I don't know if it's affiliated to Pogmol or what. But it was, and it was done for it was done for the Newcastle game, and then it was retweeted for the Liverpool game. And there was a fella who'd set up the width of a goal line in his living room, and he positioned the ball on and it was 1 centimetre over the line. I think he positioned the ball so it was 1 centimetre over the line, and then he took 2 photos of it, one from directly over the ball, and you could see a tiny bit of the ball over the line, and one from an angle, foreshortening, about 30-degree angle, where the ball looked like it was short or over the line, didn't it? And that optics are so important when it comes to the goal line decisions. And I think the Arsenal Newcastle one really.
It's also knowing the rule, though. It's the ball. It doesn't matter whether the ball's touching the floor or not. The ball has to be over the line.
The whole of the ball has to be over the whole of the line.
And that can be in the air as well as on the floor. And people get this thing about, it's over the line on the air, but they forget the fact that that's not the rule. The rule is the sphere of the ball is still over the line, even though the bottom of the ball could be touching the ball out of the line. It's still in play. Yeah. And that's what people get misled on the rule. This was in play, night and day. Mo finishes it. Thank you very much.
So that even if it went to VAR, there was nowhere near it, but we're not going to overturn it because there was not a clear and obvious.
No, it went to VAR as well.
Yeah. Oh, did it? So they checked it?
Yeah, it went to VAR and checked it.
Yeah. So anyway, importance of optics is really, on angles, is really important when you look at 2D 100%. Images. Okay. And then to finish off, we've already mentioned it once, twice this show, Diego Jota, woof, I think is the phrase say. That was a peach.
It was brilliant. He had a shot. After what you were saying about the timing of the game and when the periods of domination, from our second, between our second goal and our third goal, we had something like, I get that page back up. Oh, got the wrong sheet of my 436 sheets open. We had 68 touches and they had 58 touches, and they had 3 touches in the box. We had 2 touches in their box, and they had more XG than we did. But and then we had 2 shots in the final 33 minutes. We had 2 shots, and they were both Jota from the same move. The ball dropped out to him. He volleyed it. It broke back at the box. We picked it up, slid down the side, played back into him. Tsimi played it back into him, a nice easy ball on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
He shimmied twice and then just curled it beautifully into the far post.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was lovely. It was like a FIFA just R1 shot.
Si knows the move. Actually, a FIFA, and Jota is the world most famous FIFA player because he's a celebrity FIFA player.
He is.
Apparently, he's absolutely shit hot today, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's in the World Finals a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I was a fan as well. So wonder if he plays himself, picks himself in his FIFA team.
Got to do, isn't it? I mean, if you're in that position, you can.
He's probably getting input into EA to get them to boost his stats all the time. Anyway,
exactly.
Oh my word! Right, okay. And the other thing we need to talk about finally about the internet was very, very excited about Virgil van Dijk in this game, and rightly so.
Yeah, because Si's right. After that third goal, they put on 0.5 XG, I think it is roughly, and we put on nothing. It flatlines after our second goal, to be fair. We put on hardly anything. So they did have a couple of big chances. And I have to say, that goal line clearance from VVD on 75, 80 minutes, or somewhere around that time, that's the best I've seen. But that's the best thing I've seen Virgil do for probably a year. I just thought he was absolutely outstanding. You know, we said about the intensity in Toulouse not being there. This period of time, you had Matip throwing himself at crosses, VVD chasing back and clearing the stuff off the line to protect that.
Do you know the one? Do you know the one I liked was when Mbeumo
stood him up.
Put down the side, and he kept pace, and then he put it behind for the corner.
And he put it over for a corner. But from that corner, we had 3 or 4 of them, and he ends up clearing one off the line. I mean, that was just. It was outstanding, VVD. I thought VVD was captain. We're not conceding there. And I thought it was brilliant. But yeah, you're right. That turn of pace he showed. But also, the effort to get back in and track and block it behind us. Because that's what we've been questioning for quite a long time. The dirty work. Yeah, but he has been, I think we've also said, to give him his dues, he has been slowly, like his aerial win weight was 85.6 feet in this game. He's slowly been bringing those stats back up to his levels.
Yeah.
And this, for me, this is the best I've seen him play for a year. I thought some of his passing, I mean, the ball...
Switches were back.
Switches back into Mo controls it and then fizzes it outside the foot into Nunes, probably a little bit high for a cross midway through second half. That kind of switch into Mo, that out ball was there. I can't eulogise enough. I mean, he was just, I thought he was back to being the best centre half in the league.
Si, anything on Virg?
I thought he was fine. I thought he'd back to playing really well. I didn't think this was like a classic game or anything. I thought he was fine in it.
Yeah.
They created more than I would hope if he's the best in the world, currently playing as the best in the world. So I think he had a fine game and great. He put a bit of effort in right at the end, which we haven't seen for a year and a half. Yeah, we haven't seen it for a year and a half until 6 weeks ago. So he does look like it's consistently doing the hard effort, and he looks like he's enjoying it again. And he didn't look like he could
be asked.
Well, yeah, it looked like his body couldn't do the things he wanted it to do anymore. So it was frustrating. But he looks quick.
I think since he's come back into the team after the red card suspension.
It's exactly what it is.
He's been pretty good since that point. Maybe he had time to reflect on his on things when he was out. But yeah. When your best 3 players are playing really well, this is a good sign for Liverpool. You know, Mo, Virg, Ali, and Trent. We've already praised Trent. Trent's output is still really good, just different.
And Dom weren't bad in this game either, I have to say.
Yeah, in a different way.
In a different way, but he's doing the job in midfield with a bit of finesse when he needs it. You know, I think that's fine.
So Dom is the top 5. Dom is your 5th most important player. Is he? He's in the top 5 now? Is he?
Yeah, because it's the plus and minus. You've taken out an empty shirt and you've put in Dom, who offers you way more than that. And I know that's being harsh, but he is. He's given us output from the right 8, which we haven't had. And I think that's really important. channel down the middle of the park that we've got a good performing player in every unit of the pitch. That's critical for us to succeed. It really is.
Yeah. Anyway, we will be back. Oh, actually, before we wrap up, Si, anything I've missed? Any of the business, chaps?
We won the sprints again, and Darwin for the first time clocked 11k in a game.
Woof!
Big deal for a forward.
There's a part. No, that's what Kloppo was talking about with his work rate, wasn't it? 11k. There you go. That is rare.
There was quite a lot of halfway line transition moments where he had an 80 or 90 yard sprint on his own.
Yeah, there you go. That'll keep the boys on the Discord chat extremely happy. Darwin hits 11k and the sprints are up there. Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Si. Thank you, Bart. We will be back during the international break for another review and preview of the post-international break period. And Si, you're back tomorrow doing a fatigue index.
Yeah, just there seemed to be a topic of I've covered it 500,000 times, but the travel and the international break at 12:30 kickoff. There was a chat that picked up a bit of a storm in the last week.
Yeah, sports science colleagues. So there's not unanimity, is there, amongst sports science colleagues? It should be fun.
Well, oddly, it's a sports science colleague who is a Liverpool fan, and a bunch of other Premier League sports scientists.
So the banter still exists even among sports scientists.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you like listening to Si, get on Fatigue Index. That'll be out by the end of the week, and we will be back on Monday next week for an international break pod, and we may have some under pressure news. So stay tuned, people. Until then, up the fucking Reds.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at anfieldindex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.